I have a story for you guys. I promise you that what I'm about to tell you is 100% real, okay? And this is something kind of scary that happened to me, I want to say almost 7 years ago. And randomly, I just started thinking about it. And I just want to share it with someone. And I don't think I told anybody this story other than my wife. But, anyways, 7 years ago, I used to work at a nursing home, okay? Specifically in the memory care. So basically, a lot of the elderly, a lot of them get diagnosed for dementia. And for those of you that don't know what dementia is you just forget. A lot of them are forgetful, and you just have to consistently repeat yourself over and over and remind them that reality is right now. And it sucks because it's a tough and terrible disease. Many loved ones are forgotten. Many people forget themselves. It's insane. But anyways, the scariest thing happened to me in this nursing home. And one night there was this lady. I'm gonna call her Mrs. Jones, just for the sake of respecting the person. And I don't think they're no longer with us, meaning that they're gone. But anyways, Mrs. Jones was very stiff, okay? When I say very stiff, I mean this lady would be like this. I guess she had some type of illness where her body would just stiffen up. And I promise you, it wasn't like hands moving. It was her whole body being so strongly stiff. And if you moved it, it would stay. You'd have to, it wouldn't be that easy. You would have to kind of like really move her hands and like, it was unbearable. But God bless her soul. Anyways, something was very off about this lady. Her room. So the nursing home had hallways, long, deep hallways, and there was room on both sides, you know? And a lot of the times, me, around 7 o'clock at night, I would go make my rounds and bathe the people that were assigned to me. I would bathe, put their pajamas on, rockabye baby, put them to sleep. True story. And finally, I was making my rounds and I was running a little late this particular night. And Mrs. Jones' hallway was in the very far end of the hallway. Now, you had white fluorescent lights going all the way down the hallway. And in her room, for some reason, point of view and perspective of where I was at the very end. So it was like a cross, more like a capital T. I was on the T end, and then you had like the long hallway. As I was making my rounds, I looked down this hallway and I noticed that her room, her lights were flickering. I didn't understand what was going on there, right? So I didn't think anything of it. I was like, oh, it must be some type of faulty light. So I go check and I walk down the hallway, and as soon as you look into her room, I promise you guys, I'm not lying. She would be laying down in her bed, and God bless her soul, but she would be laying down in her bed and she would be like this. Stiff, just. Anyways, I walked in, I peeked, I was like, hey, Miss Jones, seems like your lights is messed up. She never spoke. She was always silent. But there are times where she would make noises like, you know, to try to like maybe communicate. It was very tough understanding sometimes what she wanted. But I always tried my best. There are times where I guessed right. Maybe she wanted some juice. Sometimes I guessed wrong and she just needed to be changed. Anyways, I did just checked up on her. The lights weren't flickering at the time. Keep in mind, in this lady's room, there were some bizarre paintings. Paintings that the family would hang up in these rooms. These rooms were very personalized. And in these rooms, you can make it your own. You could kind of like what I have going on here, you know, if you're a gamer, Mario, whatever the heck. But in this particular lady's room, there was these old paintings, and they were disturbing and extremely unsettling. Some were clowns, but it wasn't your typical, I mean, there's nothing typical about a clown, but the painting was old. You could tell like it was mid 1950s, I dare say even 1940s art style. The painting looked aged, but there was a clown. And I promise you, just like the movie It, some of them had red balloons, but they would just be staring at you and they wouldn't smile. It was just a clown just looking at you. That was one of the paintings. Other paintings were a little bit more disturbing. Regardless, there was a weird vibe in that lady's room. I really can't quite explain it, but I didn't like being in there. Something was just off. My spirit kept telling me, yo, red light, something's off. But I ignored it. Again, I try not to think of these things because I work late at night and I have to go through many rooms. And in nursing home, many people die. Unfortunately, that's just how life is. Sadly, I've grown attached to many of the patients there because you grow attached to them, and I've very much witnessed the end, and it's not fun. You guys, like, witnessing the end of a human is not fun. It's nothing what you would expect it to be. To put it into general terms, to jump back to not to get too deviated from the situation in the story, a lot of the times when you reach your end, you go to sleep and you have dreams. You have so many dreams, and you see the person like jolt because of these dreams. You'll hear them speak, and eventually at some point they'll just and that's it. If you're lucky to have a peaceful ending such as those. But anyways, I went back with my rounds. I didn't think anything of Mrs. Jones or anything, so I decided to just go back. Sometimes I go into the cafeteria, get me some snacks, maybe a couple pops, whatever, just to kind of keep me caffeinated and going. Anyways, I decided to finally sit down. I finished. Everybody was in their PJs. Everything was good to go. And I happened to look down the hallway again, and there it was, the flickering light. Something was like, okay, the second time in a row, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna have to just let maintenance know to change the light bulb. As easy as it was, I could maybe go to a bathroom, grab a light bulb, and just stick it in there and mind my business, right? That way it just doesn't bother me. But there were processes in which you can alter the room, at least me as a nurse at the time. Anyways, so I go check again, but this time what was to happen I would never expect. So keep in mind, Mrs. Jones, she would always be stiff, so there's no real movement in her body. It's very odd that maybe she can move. So I go in there and I noticed the lights stop flickering again. I was like, wow, what a coincidence. As soon as I come in, it's when it stops, right? Anyways, I go in, I notice that she needs to be changed. I go ahead and change her. I put some lotion on her just to make sure she's nice and comfy and smells good for sleeping, you know, whatever. And keep in mind, the entire time The entire time, from the moment I check, from the moment I change, she's like this. She doesn't say anything. She's just literally like. Anyways, so I start walking towards the door to leave her room. I glance back and she's like this. And this is where something very odd happens. The lights start flickering. I haven't left the room yet. I'm closing towards the door frame. And I decide to look back. And I promise you, she was just looking at me like this. My heart dropped. But what made it worse is the light that was flickering was coming from her bathroom. And it got real bright and it popped. I fucking ran down the hallway and I didn't make a commotion, but I dashed. I was by myself in the whole entire hallway. I dashed, I run, and I catch my breath and I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? You know, like, I'm like, bro, I felt the jolt, like adrenaline took over. So I gathered what little bit of courage I had at the time. I'm like, at some point, I'm gonna have to go check again, you know what I mean? Just because what it was the combination of events. She doesn't move, you guys. She doesn't move or anything like that. She literally, I'm gonna try to edit right now how it felt. She was like this. Just like that. Just like that. Anyways, so I muster up the courage and I go back in there. I peek into the room. So I peek into this room and everything's really dark, but she's no longer like, her neck isn't turned. She's now in her original position. Anyways, I decided to just glance around the room before I didn't enter, not yet. I glanced around the room and I saw those weird clown paintings and things like that. They were shifted ever so slightly, enough to annoy you, but they weren't like that before. Mind you, nobody else is on this floor. Nobody. Okay? So I stated, Mrs. Jones, are you okay? Do you need something? I noticed that you looked at me. Is there anything that I can help you with? And when I thought the worst of it has happened, all of a sudden she's like this. And she goes like that and she stares towards the bathroom. Now keep in mind, when I'm looking into this room, I'm looking straight at her. So there's the hallway, you look into the room, and it goes straight to where her bed was. Now, around the corner of her room was another door that you couldn't see. It was like on your blind side. And there's the bathroom. So like right here. And she looked, but ever so slowly. I have never seen this lady move before. So she goes, and she's not, I've never heard her with such a distressing noise. So keep in mind, in memory care, it's separated from the entire nursing home. Around this time, it's getting close to maybe 10:30ish a.m. No, I'm sorry, not a.m. At 10:30ish p.m. I usually clocked out around 11:30 p.m. I still had an hour to go. I have walkie-talkies and I call to another employee, but this employee's across the entire nursing home. It's maybe 4 of us, maybe 5 in the entire nursing home, but many of them are either in different floors. Some might be in the laundry room taking care of situations. They're just so far. But regardless, I walkie-talkie somebody and I said, hey man, I got a situation. Can you help me out? I just need some company. Somebody said, yeah, sure thing, no problem. And finally, this person comes roughly around 15 minutes. Hey, what's up, man? A lion, what's going on? You know, he catches up, but he sees me like I'm pale. I'm like, bro, look, I just need you to help me and just let's walk down this hallway, okay? Let's just walk down this hallway. Walk with me. I need to check on a nurse. I need to check on a patient. I think she's just a little bit awkward. I made excuses. I didn't tell this person what was going on because chances are they weren't gonna walk down with me. Rightfully so. I did trick this person because I was trying to figure this out, trying to make sense of it. The evidence is there of what has happened. I didn't understand it, but I knew something was going on. But I wanted someone else to kind of witness it while I'm there, just to make sure that I'm not going crazy. Anyways, we start approaching this room, and he stops. He goes, I'm not going in that room. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, something's off with that room. What are you talking about? He said, there's this lady. Is it the nurse that's kind of stiff? I was like, yeah. He goes, I'm not going in that room. I'm not going in there. He said, it's funny you say that because, and I explained everything that happened. And he's like, yeah, we're not going in that room. So finally, night shift comes. And I ask the morning crew if anything odd happened to them during the night. And they're like, no. I was like, okay, well, what about Mrs. Jones' room? Like, nah, everything's fine. I went in there, changed her, nothing's wrong. Did you notice that the lights in the bathroom went off? And they're like, yeah, I noticed that they didn't turn on. I was like, okay. Did you notice the paintings? Anything was off about them? Oh, yeah, them weird paintings. Yeah, no, nothing. I'm like, you didn't touch them or anything, did you? No, they're freaking creepy. I'm not going to get close to it. So I decided to peek in there. And the paintings were straight again. They weren't slanted over anything. And that right there, you guys, is one of the creepiest things that has happened that I have been around. And I just needed to get that off my chest, you guys. I've been thinking about it lately, and it just randomly, intrusively came into my brain. I was like, I need to share this with somebody because it's been years, 7 years since that, and it just randomly came to my mind. And I'm just wondering, I don't know, shortly after that, I think a couple months passed and I just left. I got a better job doing something else. But anyways, you guys, that is the creepiest story that I can share with you guys. And yeah, keep in mind, I'm recording this and it's like 3:02 a.m. So here I am building the anticipation of the creepiness before going to sleep. Oh, shit. Anyways, guys, thank you for joining me in this story time of sorts. I appreciate your company. Thank you for always letting me just express myself. I usually throw these videos out there and I don't expect big things from them, but I'm just happy that I'm able to share things with you guys as I go. But anyways, thank you guys. In the meantime, check out some of my videos, subscribe, like, let me know what you guys think. And as always, I'll catch you guys in the next one.